Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the D-Train and Juan-Aconda show. I'm Juan-Aconda.
Nah, I'm D-Train.
How you doing, D-Train?
I'm good, baby. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Round of applause.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't hear that,
it.
but that's okay.
That's okay. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good, man.
You good?
Yeah.
What's been popping, player?
I still can't hear that.
Now you can.
Heart and soul. There we go.
Heart and soul,
Heart
baby.
and soul.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good, man.
I'm
Yeah,
super
yeah.
excited for today's episode.
I know. I kind of did a little bit of brushing up, a little bit of watching some stuff. Yep.
Can you believe that homework today is literally consists of us sitting on our ass, consuming some beer or food, and then consuming whatever our homework is?
It's fantastic.
Now,
That's American dream.
I put closed captioning on, so that way I'm still reading.
Okay.
So I don't feel so lazy. I read well.
To be honest, the closed captioning shit kind of annoys me.
You're just not used to it.
I'm just not used to it. I don't pop that shit on or anything like that. So
I keep it on because that way if the kids are talking,
you can still hear what's going on or
Right.
see what's going on.
and then it's funny how many times I feel really bad for deaf people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times what they say
It's different. It's
is
different.
completely different
Yeah.
than what they're being told.
Oh, yeah.
So like deaf
And
people are
then
completely
most of the time
out
that
loop.
you have to play catch up too.
Yeah.
Because it's not at like the exact time.
No. But today's an exciting episode because we're talking about ancient aliens.
Ooh.
Ooh, let me go over to the UFO sound. Where's it at? Where's my UFO? Oh,
Miss Scusi. Miss Scusi.
Miss Scusi. Miss Scusi. But before we do that, we need to give a shout out to Debo.
Debo. Yep.
Debo passed.
Debo did pass.
I know. Smokey.
Sad.
How old was he? 63?
Smokey.
No, I mean Smokey saying,
Yeah, okay.
damn, Debo.
Yeah, I think like 63, 64 or something like that. I don't know how he died. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. His name is like Terry Tiny.
Something.
Yeah. Debo.
Hopefully there was no conspiracy attached to it.
I doubt it.
I don't doubt it, but I'm hoping there is.
You're the only one that looks into that kind of shit and thinks
I'm
about
actually
that kind
not
of shit.
alone in this
Yes,
anymore.
you are.
I'm
Yes,
not.
you are.
I am absolutely not.
Okay, there's a lot of people out there that.
There's our alien invasion button. Yes, that's right.
Sounds like from Mars Attacks.
It does. I wonder. Let me go to the main screen and see if there's any more. Yeah.
Well, that's a good one.
There we got the DJ UFO.
That's a good one.
What else we got? Oh, that's just on the. These are on the favorites. Oh, here we go.
Limited time offer. No purchase necessary. Offer valid at participating locations.
the
Void where prohibited.
discretion.
No animals were harmed during the production of this soundboard. Subject to change without notice. Side effects include dry mouth.
Yes, and then alien invasion. So you
Yes.
did homework for Ancient Aliens.
I did. I watched a few episodes of Ancient Aliens.
So
And-
have you watched any in the past?
I saw one episode way back in the day when I think you first started like watching it, and it was about the pyramids and how they were able to create their own energy within.
Nice.
And there was like batteries or some shit like that. It's been a while since I saw that episode, but they were able to control water and be able to create their own hydroelectricity
Something
within
like
the
that.
pyramid.
Yeah.
I'm probably a little bit off on that one, but
Pretty good memory.
yeah.
Based off of the information and knowledge that you have, I am impressed.
Yeah,
Good
there
job,
was like
sir.
there was like tunnels that showed a bunch of different tunnels,
Yeah.
and then almost like skylights where the sun could come in, and I think it even like heated up the water or some shit like that. Like it was pretty crazy. It's really the engineering is way ahead of its time.
You know,
Absolutely.
I think is interesting is that they never found any mummies inside the main pyramids.
They didn't.
Nope.
Where was King Tut?
Down the road, it was a lucky find that they actually found King Tut.
I think I do remember
but
that.
they found him like a few miles down. It's like the it translates to like the Valley of the Dead or something like that.
Yeah, because they say it's like there's a curse, and the people that found him, both of them died.
All 6 of them died.
All 6 of them?
Yeah.
One was like a mosquito bite. Another one was like some
Malaria,
weird
yeah.
shit. Yeah, like completely odd. that bitch is cursed.
I don't think it is. I think that it just
I
happens.
think it is. You don't believe in like curses or hexes or anything like that? I feel like there could be something like that.
I do believe in curses and hexes, but I also believe that you can avoid curses and hexes.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing.
That's true.
I'm trying to see if we have any more alien sounds, and we really don't.
But I mean, if you're opening up a tomb that's like 20,000 years old,
Well,
like,
it's
going to be some shit.
2,500 years old. And that's the thing is, okay, this thing's been locked up for 2,500 years, and nobody's been in here. It's been in the desert sand.
The Egyptians are way, way older than 2,500 years.
Very, very much older.
Yeah.
But that's like, I think when the end of Egypt came in was 2,500 years ago. But yes, they're way older than that. You are correct.
Yeah, the pyramids are like 20,000 years old.
Older than that, actually.
Oh, probably. What the fuck was that?
My finger hit a duck call.
Oh, it sounded like a chipmunk.
I'm trying to see if we have any more any alien sounds.
I don't think we do, buddy.
I don't think we do. All right, back to the favorites. So you've seen an episode, and then you did your homework, and you watched a few of the current episodes.
Yes. Yeah. I saw the current ones. There was one about giants. There was one about the skeleton key. There was one about the power of 12, the number 12. And then I'm missing, the Tibet.
Yeah.
The Tibetan monks, how there's like a Shangri-La or something like that, like within mountains.
Yep.
That's what they say, but that no one's been able to really find it. And then I feel like there's one more.
That's it. Those are the 4 current ones.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you watched any older ones.
Maybe there was like a season 15 one that I saw or something, because I could have sworn there was something else. Fuck, what was it? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
So, based off of the episodes that you've watched currently, what do you think? Based off of, okay, we went to public school in America, and we were given this broad, understanding of history, right? There were some details here and there, but they really didn't ever go into ancient history unless you took that course, of which I took that course.
In high school, yeah, I took that course too, but in Catholic school, actually, there was ancient civilizations. Like, we learned from cavemen all the way on. I think we ended in, like, the Vietnam War or something like that. Like, I mean, they did breeze through a lot of shit, for sure, but they talked about the Egyptians and stuff, and I feel like it's because of the Bible. That's why they were okay with it. But here's the fucked up thing. Okay, there was a chapter of Africa that we just... I'm like, damn, really? Like,
we don't need
so
to
you
touch
mean to
on
tell
the
me
persecutions
that
we've
one
done.
continent didn't have anything going on there? Like, I mean, that was some racist ass shit right there. Like,
the supposed cradle of civilization.
I know.
Where all of humanity
they talked about the Mediterranean Sea, and then like Egypt and all that, like the Middle East, like, I mean, where everything started, Mesopotamia, hunter-gatherers, all that kind of stuff. But that chapter of like African history in general, whether it be all the way from the start of the cradle of creation, or anything that happened in the 1800s there, like,
the invasion of Europe into
like
Africa.
they just said, fuck it, we're not gonna teach a bunch of little white kids this shit.
Yeah, no, we don't need them knowing the truth.
Slavery, like, nah, we're good.
We'll skip over that.
Yeah, but I remember kind of breezing through it a little bit. There was battles and wars between tribes and clans and shit all over Africa, and it's like, kind of seems interesting and important, but nah, fuck it.
No, we don't need you to tie too many fucking dots together. Start piecing shit together.
Okay, sure.
You're not going to show up to church on Sunday and give us 10%.
Yeah, they're not going to talk about the kings of, Nigeria and shit.
Ethiopia. No.
Fuck it.
No, what we're going to do is we're going to wait till 2018, and we're going to come out with a movie, and we're going to call it Black Panther. That's how we're going to educate the public on how powerful Africans are. But until then, it's a fucking clouded mystery. We're gonna give you shitty movies with Leonardo DiCaprio about blood diamonds,
yeah,
and fucking Hotel Rwanda.
Don Cheadle.
I did see that. Don Cheadle. Give you some real garbage. We're gonna show you all the wild animals. On all the death that the wild animals do there. Because, we don't want you to visit there because you might be afraid of being eaten by lions.
Oh, yeah. Or malaria. But nonetheless.
Right? But nonetheless. It turns out Africa's a really amazing place.
Yeah.
They almost had all the states of Africa united. under Omar Gaddafi, and then Hillary stepped in and murdered him. But
Okay.
we won't go there because
Nope.
we're talking aliens.
Yes.
And there's a lot of ancient history in Africa.
Yeah, I went out it.
And there's been a few episodes on Ancient Aliens and other shows that talk about the Ark of the Covenant. And they have mentioned that there is a location in Ethiopia, in a monastery, where the Ark of the Covenant might be hidden. And this Ark of the Covenant, let's see if I can pull it up for us, in Ethiopia is guarded by priests. And you hardly ever see the main priest. If you do, it's like once in a while, once in a lifetime to see this priest. And they usually die every 15 to 20 years.
I can't really hear you.
They usually die
Oh.
from what appears to be radiation poisoning.
Oh.
And there's rumors, based off of the information and what we've been able to discover about the Ark of the Covenant, that it was some sort of nuclear-powered device. Covenant, Ethiopia. Look at that. Third one down on Schmoogle.
Fun fact about Ethiopia, they have some of the best coffee in the world.
They do.
Yeah.
And because of Jack Nicholson, we know that they have kitty shit coffee.
They have what?
Cat shit coffee.
Jack Nicholson? What?
Yeah, don't you remember that movie with Jack Nicholson? Where he's like him and his dog and they like have to get in a car and go drive somewhere. And he's like, I need this fancy coffee.
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Really?
Oh, is it where he's like crazy, like OCD?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And he has
remember that one. That was as good as it gets.
See?
Yeah.
You are chock full of all this important information.
No, it's useless, but that's okay.
But we're now going to give you the important information. We're going to get you there. So yeah, no, the Ethiopians are known for their cat shit coffee. So here we are over on the Smithsonian Magazine, which the fact that they're even publishing this is pretty incredible. Keepers of the Lost Ark. Christians in Ethiopia have long claimed to have the Ark of the Covenant. And it's interesting. They have churches and temples that are literally carved into the stone ground.
That's pretty badass.
And we still can't do that shit today.
No,
How and where'd all that rock go? Where'd all that debris go?
that's true.
So they think that this Ark of the Covenant.
I mean, we could do it today, but it's going to take like jackhammers and shit, and even then, it's not going to look that clean.
No way. But yeah, so wow, Smithsonian pumped out some knowledge here.
Jesus.
I'm not going to read through the whole thing.
Fuck no, neither am I.
Let's see. Sometimes if you just jump over the comments, these people are all like stroking each other gray matter. So long story short,
The Ark of the Covenant.
the Ark of the Covenant.
Everyone's still looking for it.
Yeah, and they have, yeah. So here's what one of the priests looks like. This is the garb they wear. And then it's like literally in the jungle. It's protected by a village. You're not allowed to like really go by there.
I believe 2 of the 7 wonders of the world are in Africa too.
You are
aren't they?
correct.
Yeah.
See, the chock full of amazing knowledge.
It was the Hanging Gardens and shit,
see
something
here.
else.
Let's look up the 7 wonders of the world. 7 wonders.
There you go. You can just click on the ones on the top. The Great Pyramids, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Yep.
There we go. I'll just go back. 'Cause,
Yeah.
So we got the Great Pyramids of Giza.
Yeah.
Hanging Guards of Babylon.
Yep.
Colossus of Rhodes.
Yep.
Lighthouse of Alexandria.
Yep.
The Temple of Artemis. The statue of Zeus at Olympia.
Yeah.
And
The Mausoleum.
yep, the mausoleum.
The Mausoleum and the Hanging Gardens, I believe, are the ones in Africa.
Yes.
I could be wrong.
Yes, the Hanging Gardens of the
Well, no, I guess the Great Pyramid of Giza.
yeah, Africa.
Because Egypt's in
It's
Africa.
And Abby, if you're out there, girl, I just want you to know, I hope you had an amazing life thus far.
Abby Laurie.
Yep.
Still remember her name.
I was being an asshole.
Yeah, you were.
I apologize. I shouldn't have said that. But yes,
It's a high school thing. Okay.
it
Yeah,
is.
Whatever.
I hope you're having a wonderful life.
All right, so
Oh, speaking of that, Anita is following us on Facebook.
No shit.
Yeah, so shout out to you, Anita. Thanks for following. You're one of those 60% of female listeners we have.
Oh, that's true.
That's right. We have more female listeners than male listeners.
Yeah, John brought up the stats. I cannot believe it. I'm actually surprised because it's two dudes talking about dumb shit, and 60% of our listeners are women. So we appreciate that. I feel like it's because we're handsome.
That's awesome. And I'm gonna save him here a little bit. He just said we talk about dumb shit. Seeing as 60% of our listeners are women, we're obviously talking about some good stuff.
I guess that's
here.
true.
Because they're the smart decision makers, and we're the men.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they're listening to us, we should be on to hear something good.
Women empowerment, okay, seriously, we would be far more advanced if the men have not put you down for centuries, okay? Like, we'd be far more fucking advanced.
Good news, though.
So I'm just telling you.
Good news. We're stepping into the age of Aquarius here soon.
That's true. That is true.
Time for your time, divine feminines.
Yeah.
All you fine ladies out there. Big shout out to you. Let's give them
And the first female vice president's coming around the corner, too, so... yeah, I know you want to say some shit. That's okay. That's okay.
But I'm not going to say anything.
No. We're not going to say anything. We're not going to leave it.
Because
we're going to leave it at that.
We're going to leave it at that.
We're going to leave it at that.
But I will leave it with that the current administration has an all-female press side and a lot of women already working in the administration. More than any other prior administration.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm glad Orange Man Bad set the precedent for the into other administrations coming in for the amount of women and women of color that are currently in the White House.
I think it was just because he was grabbing by the pussy, where it's just like, I should probably get some women in here.
And you know how many women probably say, I would grab that dude by the cock? I just want to grab his nuts and...
In a good way or a bad way?
Both ways.
Good way, Alabama. Bad way, New Yorker.
Depends on where you're from. The New Yorker like, I want to just grab his balls. And the Alabama girl, I'm going to grab them balls. You better watch out, boy. I'm going to take you behind the shed. Play a little ping pong. So, Seven Wonders of the World.
Seven Wonders of the World. Okay, the Great Pyramid of Giza.
Yes.
I think we all know about the fucking pyramids. Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Click on that.
Hanging.
I think that may be in Ethiopia, isn't it? Seven Wonders of the World.
Let's see here.
Where is it? Or where do they say it is? Babylon. Iraq.
Iraq, yeah.
Iraq, okay.
Here, let's just
Middle
pull
East.
up a map.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Hanging Gardens, so the Great Pyramids of Giza.
Okay.
And then we got the Pharaoh's Lighthouse at Alexandria.
Okay.
So that's
Northern Africa.
Yeah, and that was the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah. And that's where that's when Alexandria was just invading shit.
Yeah, so it's funny.
He was gay too.
Dude.
I guess the Greeks were very open about that. A hole's a hole and I'm going to stick something in it. Yeah.
So, before you interrupted me with penetration comments, I was going to mention that the Hermetica originated from the Library of Alexandria. And at the time that the Library of Alexandria was fully cranking, all the different cultures in that area, so like Southern Africa, the Middle East, Babylon, Northern Europe, and Europe, everybody came to the Library of Alexandria to gain knowledge. And it says in the Hermetica that our God is a bisexual God, so it's not male or female.
Okay.
So based off of that, the Greeks were very in tune with their spirituality, right? They were considered to be pagan because they had all these different gods. However,
they were fucking clean.
They were clean.
Yeah.
And cleanliness is next to godliness, right? That's one of the Christian things is to be clean, right? And the Hermetica came from the libraries of Alexandria, and then they burned that library to the ground, destroyed all of the pagan knowledge under Christian rule, Catholic rule, right?
Thanks, Christians.
Hey, you know what? It goes full circle. So as much as you try to rip us away from all the knowledge, now people are seeking it everywhere they go.
Go back.
Where do you want?
All right. Where was that? Okay, so statue of Zeus of Olympia. That's obviously Greece. The mausoleum of the Halicarnassus. Where's that?
Which one?
It's a purple one. It's this guy.
Yeah.
So that looks like it's like Greece, Mediterranean. Okay. And then the Colossus of Rhodes, that one's purple. Where the fuck is that? That's Mediterranean again.
Yep.
Okay, and then the Pharaoh Lighthouse, Alexandria.
The
What's
only
the one in
that's-
America? No.
That's Africa.
No. Where's the Hanging Gardens of Babylon?
They're in Iraq.
Temple.
Right here.
What?
These are the
What is
hanging-
that one there?
This is the statue of Zeus at Olympia. So that's in Greece.
Oh, I see that. Okay. For some reason, it just looked like. Okay, I got you.
And then, like, it shows you, like, the size of the pyramids,
Oh, I didn't even realize that at the bottom. Holy shit.
right? And
Damn.
then the time that they were built, right?
Yeah.
So this,
Obviously, number one.
so these guys were supposedly built 2584 BCE.
So that's 5,000 years ago, pretty much.
5,000 years ago,
Give or take, obviously.
right? And 600 BC, before Christ, before Christ, before Christ, before Christ, before Christ, before Christ.
And then Christianity fucked it all up.
And well, it looks like they destroyed it between 1300 to 1480 AD.
To 1 AD. So each one of these was destroyed.
Yes. So
I may look into the Seven Wonders of the World and, like, I may look into it a little bit more and do some more reading and shit like that.
well,
That'd be
what I
kinda
think
cool.
is what is interesting is
Like how it started, when it ended, shit like that.
well, supposedly our society rediscovered the pyramids in the 1800s.
How do we rediscover it? The motherfucker's out in the middle of a desert. You could see it. It's not hidden.
So
It's probably we started cracking shit open is what we did in the 1800s.
so no, we began exploring.
That's what I mean. Like breaking down some doors and seeing what the fuck's in there.
However, there's a big portion of our history that has sort of been left out, right? So we
Okay.
go from 1600s, 1700s, we begin exploring, trying to conquer the rest of the world through Western civilization,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, Columbus and, the Civil War, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada. Well, if you dig down into Earth anywhere on the planet, you're going to come across this area of like mud and silt.
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's a theory out there called the mudflood conspiracy. And basically what it is this idea that we had some sort of flood in addition to Noah's flood that buried all of this stuff in history
You mean on the Earth's crust or
top.
like the upper crust?
on top of,
okay,
of where
okay.
we're at right now. So I'm going to show you some of information here, but this is called the mudflood conspiracy. And basically, if you look at this building, look at how much of this building was washed underneath the mud,
Oh shit.
and we built on top of it,
Oh shit.
right? And so there's a whole theory going behind this ancient mud flood, and there's a lot of pictures out there that let's see if I can find some more mud flood images. So there's a lot of these buildings that were built, and when you begin to dig them up, you see that, let's see, right here, a good portion of
Wow.
the architecture was just buried under mud globally. And this was in 1812.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and look at on Google, when were the pyramids discovered? 1842. So 30
do you
years.
Do you think it was crazy sandstorms too that helped just kind of like slowly work this dirt and sand and debris and shit down?
Okay.
So that's when they started kind of poking out a little bit more?
Well, and here's the thing is, okay, that's just the pyramids.
Yeah.
And then if you go look at Göbekli Tepe, buried in mud. If you go look at Easter Island, all of those characters in Easter Island, they're all buried in mud 3/4 of the way up.
Okay. I
You
see
go
that.
to Aztecs, buried in mud. Go to the jungle, or Incas, buried in mud, all the way up to Peru. All these megalithic ancient like all the way out in Peru at the top of the Andes, the tallest mountains on the planet. All of these ancient sites destroyed and then buried. First of all, imagine the means that would take to carve out the stone, move the stone, and build any one of those sites without any mortar. Because if you go and look at some of these
I
megalithic
know. I
sites,
saw that with the was it the skeleton one or the skeleton key or the giants? All the stuff was built and there was no mortar.
None.
It was fitted perfectly to specification, to like arches and shit.
And built to astronomical designation.
Sure.
And they can take the current trajectory of the astrological sites, in the sky, the stars, and they can then rewind it back in time to get the exact date on when they built this stuff. So the stars are like a calendar, right? So they can go back into the date and time that they built these pyramids to that exact alignment anywhere on the globe, and it goes back 12,000, 15,000, 18,000 years. And what it completely undoes the entire archaeological paradigm that we've been fed, right? That there was dinosaurs walking around, and then an asteroid hit and wiped out the dinosaurs billions of years ago. But then you look at the 1812 mud flood, right? And the conspiracy behind the mud flood, and then you go and see all these buildings that were buried in 1812, and then you go and look that we didn't discover Egypt until 1842. And then you go and look at some of these ancient Aztec and Incan sites, and they have people walking with dinosaurs carved onto the sides of the buildings. Right? Let's see if I can find that.
That's fucking crazy.
And so you figure, all these people just up and vanished.
Yeah.
Aztecs, Incans, even in China, Japan. This entire generation of humanity vanishes. We're not finding bodies anywhere.
Yeah.
We find them in Pompeii. We find them in Egypt in tombs. We're finding some skeletons in the mountains and in things of that sort, but for the amount of millions and millions of people that were around, we should be finding literally just fields of bones underneath our feet.
I could see that.
Right?
But if you think about it too, I mean, our bones and everything else, it's got to be biodegradable.
What was I just going to look up?
Oh, the Incans walking with dinosaurs or whatever.
Incan. Ink. How do you spell Incan?
INCAN.
Incan. Dinosaur. Stones. Here we go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so these are ancient stones that they found.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Oh, look at, looks all nice and friendly and shit. Just like, hey, we're hanging out with brontosauruses and stegosauruses and shit.
Right? And then they find figurines that are carved and look like aliens. And then they found skeletons with giant skulls. They're called the Paracas skeletons. Right?
What are we on? Why is there ads?
Pinterest.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, Pinterest.
Because I'm like, why the fuck is Target in here? All right.
Yeah, look at this ancient shit here.
That's crazy.
So, and this is stuff that they're finding at these sites, right? Carved stones with these images on there.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, where did all these people go? Where did they vanish?
Yeah.
And then there's this theory about this mud flood of 1812. Well, if, Colorado's notorious for having bentonite, which is clay. You have to dig through at least 10 to 15 feet of clay before you get back down to the surface area here in Colorado.
Okay.
There was an entire flood that had taken place that has been completely wiped from our history books. Because if you think about it, these skeletons from these fossils aren't that deep down in the ground. They're like surface area, right? Well, if there was a flood 100 years ago that hit the entire globe, right, and people survived, but there was a giant flood, imagine in 1812 there's dinosaurs in the forest, there's dinosaurs in the jungle, and mud comes through out of nowhere and wipes them out.
Are we talking about the 1800s?
Yeah, we're talking about the 1812
and dinosaurs. You think dinosaurs were around in the 1800s?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, okay, there are pictures of cowboys who have shot pterodactyls. Have you seen those?
No.
Oh, man, this is so fun.
I feel like this is someone having fun with you, motherfucker.
Oh, no, man, this
Let's
is all...
see this.
Watch, yeah.
Let's see this.
Terror. How do you spell dactyl?
D.
Let's see here. Cowboy with dinosaur flying. Let's see here. I don't know what USJ is. Here we go. Look at that shit.
Okay. I'm gonna say that's like something that's extinct.
But just think, 1812, right? And here's an image of a freaking pterodactyl. I don't know why I can't zoom on it.
I like how there's a dog in there too.
Let's see here. But look at the background here. Right? And so again, in 1812, there's a conspiracy of this mud flood. And then you look, and there's actually pictures from libraries and museums, and there's these freaking cowboys with a damn pterodactyl. Now, if you're a pterodactyl and you're that fucking big, you need a big nest.
Yeah.
A big nest. Because
Yeah.
have you ever seen a magpie nest?
No.
A magpie nest is literally almost the size of my desk
Okay.
for a magpie.
Okay.
Right? Now imagine you're a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
You're about to have some pterodactyl babies. First of all, what the fuck are you eating?
You gotta
What are you
eat
eating?
people.
Well, not just maybe people, right? Because there's
They're scooping
stories,
up. They're scooping up a cow here and there and shit.
there's stories in the ancient Indians of what's called as a thunderbird, right? So it's like this giant metallic bird that comes out of this devil's lake and flies out and like attacks people and eats farmers.
Okay.
And then there's stories of these cowboys and settlers who moved into that area in the late 1800s, and they reported stories of seeing a thunderbird coming out of this lake known as the Devil's Lake, and it has this metallic body, right? And then you find images like this of pterodactyls, right? And then have you seen any of the pictures of giants or the giant bones?
I've seen giants. Yeah.
Have you seen any of the pictures of, like, you know how we have mesas?
Yes.
Have you ever seen the pictures of how these mesas were actually ancient giant trees?
That's a good one. That's a good
I
one.
know, right? Like, once you go down the ancient aliens rabbit hole and you begin looking at stuff, it opens your idea to that there's a possibility that there's more. Because if you look at what they're presenting, and they have a lot of interesting characters, like Gregorio with his crazy hair, you know, presenting his information, right?
Yeah.
And again, he has an agenda. He wants to make money. It's a business for him. But he's also highly interested, and he speculates against all the history that we've been taught.
Yeah.
Once you begin to look at these things from a different perspective, and you look at some of the timelines, they begin to make sense and correlate, right? So let's look at giant trees as mesas. So this goes under the flat Earth theory, right? They buckled this in. But if you look at these pictures of mesas,
Yeah.
and you look at a
That's
tree
Yellowstone, and then that's
so basically, it's a giant freaking tree.
I mean,
when you think about giants, right? And if you look at the history of giants, and just based off of like the Sumerian texts and their measurements of giants, they measure the giants to be 450 feet tall.
okay.
Where how big these people talked about how big the giants were. And they had no
Okay.
reason to make it up. There was no Hollywood. There was
Yeah.
no, ooh, let's fuck with the people in the future.
Yeah.
And then you look at pictures of mesas, and you think about the evolution of the planet and how when two tectonic plates come together, they can push and make mountains rise up. But then you look at these mesas and you think, there's no possible way that these popped up out of the earth as stalactites. They look like freaking tree stumps.
Devil's Tower. That's what it was. Yeah.
Devil's Tower
That's
looks
in
like a tree
Wyoming,
stump,
I think.
right? And then when you carve
I'm not gonna
into it-
lie, dude. I can't really jump on top of that
Hold on.
one, but
But it's hard to do it. But here's the top of a mesa. Look at the rings on the mesa, just like a tree stump. This is at the very top of the mesa. I know it's a far reach.
it is a far reach.
But when
and,
you look
and
at
petrified stone,
and
like I mean,
that was the next thing I was gonna
petrified
tell you.
rock, like it's gonna have to take a long time to do
The
that.
okay, but here's where it doesn't. So they can fossilize something instantaneously.
Okay.
It takes a lack of oxygen and pressure.
Okay.
Now think 1812, as crazy as this is, and I've never even explored this conspiracy. I've heard of it, but I've never even explored it. So we're doing this together. Like, this is the first time we're looking at it.
Okay.
So if you look at 1812, you see pictures of cowboys with dinosaurs. And they had no reason to make it up. Like, pictures were new. They didn't have a reason to falsify things back then, right? There was no need for it. It was, holy shit, look what we found. Does anybody have what's called a camera, right? So when you look at that, you look at the flood of the 1812, and then you look at these mesas, and you look at the top of them, and every top of a mesa looks like a tree cut in half. And then you look at the ancient text from 20,000 years ago, and they talk about giants. And then you see these massive tombs that were built for giants.
Yeah.
And then you find inklings of bones that were found on the internet here and there. And then you find out that the Smithsonian actually took control of those in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and then swept all that information under the rug.
Yeah.
Because the Smithsonian is the place to go to information.
Well, of course it is.
You begin to see that this Earth reality that we're experiencing is on a whole nother level. Because look at that. That looks like a damn tree.
It does. I just can't put 200 years behind that.
No, I'm not saying.
Sorry.
I'm not saying 200 years.
If that was 10,000 years, yes.
Okay, hold on. I'm not saying that's 200 years.
Okay.
Because I'm saying.
So you're saying that in 1812, the flood, the mud flood, I could see that possibly happening. Not all at once. I feel like it happened at different sections of the planet.
Yeah.
But I feel like 1812, the Noah's Ark, the tsunamis that our world has created and everything else, I could see that coming into play a number of times throughout the Earth's
history.
Humanity's history.
Right.
I mean, because Earth is crazy old.
Yeah.
Like crazy old.
Okay, so I'm not saying that these tree stumps, these mesas are 200 years old.
Okay.
Based off of how big these trees would be, 3 to 5 miles tall.
Yeah.
They'd be massive.
Yeah.
And if you're a giant that's 450 feet tall, that's a perfect tree for you, right?
Yeah.
So imagine that 20,000 years ago, 25,000 years ago, let's say 12,500 years ago, when Göbekli Tepe's rocking.
Okay.
Everything's popping, right?
Yeah.
We got all these civilizations. They're writing about giants. Mm-hmm. These trees are still alive.
Okay, that I could see.
Because if you go and look at every single one of these mesas, it's not like it's not like it got pushed over. Mm-hmm. It's like somebody cut them off.
Okay.
Literally cut the trees in half. Right across the stump. Like, look at that.
So you think some big motherfucker sat there with an axe and just kept fucking chopping away?
Well, okay. In North America, and this just popped into my mind frame, in North America we have the legend known as Paul Bunyan.
Yes.
Okay.
And his big blue ox named Babe. That's it.
Yeah, Babe and the big blue ox.
Yes.
And he chopped down all the big trees.
Yes.
Right? There has to be some truth to the myth. Because if you look at all these ancient myths that have been written thousands of years ago, some of the myths were written as allegories and metaphors. Mm-hmm. But other ones were written for a reason. Mm-hmm. And then you go and you look at some of the petroglyphs, right? Let's pull up petroglyphs for a second.
Yeah.
And
I like how you have like 30 windows open. I don't know. I can't stand that.
Let's see here. Let's see. North American petroglyphs. Let's take a look at North American petroglyphs. Let's see here. 8 spots in the United States where you can see petroglyphs. Oh, who's telling us? Oh, the Smithsonian. Thanks, guys. The people who control the information.
They're the ones that have all the information, big guy.
So, if you go throughout the southwestern part...
Mesa Verde. We have Mesa Verde here in Colorado.
Been to Mesa Verde.
Yeah.
It was totally incredible. Like,
it is
amazing
incredible to see that
they did this.
Yeah.
And supposedly these people who grew corn in the desert. And that's another thing that we got to think about is the landscape had to be different.
Oh, it had to be different.
Prior to this supposed mud flood, right?
Easy.
Because these people were able to grow food in abundance to fill a village.
Well, I mean, if you think about it too, like Egypt and Babylon, and then the start of civilization that was in the Middle East, it was glorious. Like there was rivers and there was like jungles and all that kind of shit. Now it's like a fucking desert. Okay? So like many years ago, yeah, it was different. I mean, I can guarantee that all the continents have changed in each one of those. Like being in North America, we have a cold and we have kind of a warm. I bet you it was either super warm or crazy cold. It could have shifted all over the place. I mean,
I think
over time.
Before the moon came in to play, because there's these ancient societies where they talk in their history prior to the moon being there. Like the moon not being in the sky.
I can't jump on that one, but okay.
But it's in the, so it's like the Aboriginals have it in their oral histories, passed through generation after generation.
That there was no moon.
Yeah, they've been, so the Aboriginals are the longest living like elder native species.
Yeah.
And they have in their oral histories information about before there was a moon in our sky. And if you want to think about lizards or reptiles, they need a constant environment temperature, constant basic temperature, right?
Okay.
So if you think before the moon came in and before we were supposedly hit with an asteroid, that the Earth was completely just vertical, up and down. We didn't have really seasons. You had seasons to the north and the south where it was just colder in the south, colder in the warmth. And then you had a good portion of all the land mass that was its own consistent temperature.
Okay, so do you think the moon has always been there?
No.
But the Aborigines can't see it because they're on the other side and we weren't orbiting.
No, because you can see the moon from the poles now.
Okay.
So they have hit in their oral histories when the moon was brought into our atmosphere. Because if you just look at the mathematics on the moon and where it's located between the Earth and the moon and the sun, it had to have been precisely put there for it to create the solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, and everything that it does.
Well, it creates waves too. It creates the ocean and the currents and
the
such.
Tides.
The tides.
Is the tides of what they think it's supposedly tied to, right? Well, then if you go and look at some of the current ancient alien stuff, well, in 1968, on like Apollo 16 or 15, one of the final lunar missions, they dropped the lunar modular back onto the moon to see if it would cause any damage to the moon. Well, then the moon rang like a bell for hours. So the moon is not solid. It's not what we're presented to, because if you look at every single crater on the moon, they're all the same depth. They may be a bigger girth, but every single crater on the moon is the same depth. So when you look at that, and then you look at some of these ancient oral histories of, oh, we remember before there was a moon, and then you bring the moon in, and then you look at Star Wars, and you look at the Death Star, and then you look at the moon, they look similar.
Okay.
And then if you look at some of the ancient Nazi stuff from prior to World War I, they've developed the technology to go to the moon and the dark side of the moon, right? And then that's another interesting thing about the moon is it doesn't rotate. Everything else in our universe rotates, but the moon doesn't. We never get to see the backside of the moon. That's
again, dude, I can't
speculation.
I can't jump on some shit like that. I can definitely not.
And
all right, let's switch gears. Right. Okay, I want to talk about a little bit more current thing that have been happening. Okay, so we got the monoliths.
All right,
wanted to discuss that a little bit, and then we also have that Israeli scientist. So I want to discuss that too. So let's start with the monoliths. All
right. So
okay.
I only know. Aliens, and now we're going to talk about aliens in our current reality.
Yeah. Okay. So the monoliths, the only one I know is the one in Utah, the one in Romania. The one in Utah, it was there. It did its thing for like a week or whatever, and then fucking gone. Okay. But we saw a previous video. Have we posted that video yet?
The monolith video? No, not yet.
No. Okay. All right. Well, we did a review on it. We found out it's bullshit. It's man-made. Okay, cool. Then the sumbitch disappeared and then popped up in Romania.
Let's see.
That's the last of what I know. But you said there's 6 of them out there?
So as of 6 days ago.
Okay.
Let's see. How many monoliths are there? Every location where mysterious objects have appeared. Monoliths continue to be discovered in remote locations across the world, with mysterious objects appearing at an English beach and a national park in Colorado over the weekend. There was one actually here in Boulder.
What?
Yeah. While the origins of some of the monoliths remain a mystery, others are being purposely set up outside businesses to draw in customers.
Yeah.
Somebody thought it was a marketing campaign or publicity stunt, or objects being placed by aliens and stolen by the Grinch. So we have Utah,
Yep.
Romania,
Yeah.
California,
I don't know about the California one.
Nevada, the Netherlands, the UK, and Colorado and Colombia.
So there's 8.
8 so far that we are popping up. So
I want to know what this is all about. Like, this is, I mean, because it's not Alien. The ones that we've seen or whatever, it is 2001 Space Odyssey relaunching?
So here's a speculation that I have.
Okay.
In the original 2001 Space Odyssey, we see in the movie, in the set, we see all these apes hanging out, having a good time, eating, picking each other's bugs off, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's this black monolith. And then one of the apes goes over and touches the monolith, and all of a sudden, its thinking is elevated to another level, that it thinks it has to compete with all the other monkeys, and that there's a lack, and now he has to start murdering and defend his family, right? For food and shit like that.
He's got to be the king monkey.
King monkey, right?
Yeah.
Well, imagine 2020, right? In the year 2020, we have been shown that the most powerful, the most educated, the most influential people are no better than a virus that we can't see. That a virus known as COVID-19 can hit and affect anyone, right?
Okay.
It leveled the playing field. It shut down sports. It shut down Hollywood. It shut down everything. And then we're being shown that these people in power, we can get together and drum up billions of dollars for themselves and their friends and their businesses, but we can't get the money for the people, right? We can't resolve these issues. So from Space Odyssey 2001 to 2019, 2020, humanity has come this far with all this information, knowledge, technology, means to communicate, right? We're still murdering each other, like the original. What if these monoliths, because we're stepping into the age of Aquarius on December 21st, 2020, what if these monoliths are marking the point in history where humanity is going to step into the next level of consciousness, where we realize that, wait, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet, and we grow enough food for 10 billion people. We need to do a better job of just feeding people, right? We just come into that realization that, wait, we have enough for everybody. Let's take care of everybody, because once we set the basic standard that anybody on this planet who's here is supposed to be here, here's your food, here's your water, here's your home, here's everything that you need to live your life, right? What if that's the direction we're heading in? Because just in this week alone, aside from monoliths, we have this guy in the Israeli government who's 85 years old that's coming forward, who has absolutely no reason to do it. It's not going to profit him anything.
No. I noticed that too. And when you first sent it to me, I was just like, all right, whatever. This is just another thing. And then I started seeing more and more people talking about it and how it came out. And I was just like, this is, I guess, a thing.
Yeah.
Like, this actually is a fucking thing.
And I like when that happens, because then I'm validated through you that the shit that I get a hand on and throw at you before the mainstream tells it to you, I'm usually right on that shit.
Well, it just, once I saw Joe Rogan post it, then I was like, oh, you're not full of shit.
Why are you knocking our competitor, bro? We're the next Joe Rogans, man. Like, you got the bald? And that's, either way. So, when you look at that, and then you look at this, let's pull that out to the Israelis' defense forces.
Yeah, this guy.
Let's see.
They have terrible names for this shit. I was like, really? Oh god, you're terrible at typing.
Former Israeli space security chief says extraterrestrials exist and Trump knows about it. And okay, hold on, before you say, remember in one of our previous episodes, I mentioned to you on shit we've seen on YouTube. We were scanning through my channels. I mentioned to you the Galactic Federation.
Yes.
Okay, just pause right there.
Who the fuck came up with that stupid ass name?
Just look at the first line.
What is it, Star Trek or whatever is the Galactic Federation?
So it's known as the Federation. Star Trek is known as the Federation.
Okay, yeah, no, they do mention the Galactic fucking Federation. Terrible name. Whatever.
So the first line here, and this is mainstream news through the Peacock, through the Eyeball, through CNN, everybody on the mainstream.
The only thing I trust, yes.
Right. A galactic federation has been waiting for humans to reach a stage where we'll understand what space and spaceships are.
Yeah.
Now, that first line, a galactic federation, truth. Been waiting for humans to reach a stage where we'll understand what space and spaceships are.
They just don't want people flipping out thinking that it's Mars attacks.
Let's put it this way. Just like in the Ancient Aliens recent episodes, they basically say that they're here. They've been here the whole time.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Like the first couple seasons or whatever, you started like season 7 or something like that. It said, "What if? Who if? If, ands, and buts. You know, if my aunt had a dick, she would be my uncle." Like that. Okay, right?
Yeah.
And then the newest season, it talks about how, motherfucker, they're here. Yeah. Like this is a thing. And there's not really much speculation anymore.
All you have to do is walk through the door. You need to forget everything you know and be prepared to learn something new.
Yeah.
That they've always been here. They've never left.
Yeah.
Right? Well, then you think, okay, CIA, Hollywood. The CIA has had a hand in every single movie produced by Hollywood. Mm-hmm. They don't even lie about it. Mm-hmm. Public knowledge. Then we look at blockbusters. They had a big hand in all the blockbuster movies, like the summer blockbusters, the ones that are in your face, getting this ticket sales,
or the Marvel shit,
merchandise.
Yeah.
But then you remember Men in Black.
Yeah.
And just think about
first one was good, second one, third one.
Fourth one was horrible.
I haven't even seen the fourth one.
The third one's cool because it's Tommy Lee Jones when he was younger, and it's Josh Brolin.
Oh, I do remember that. That one was good. That one was
actually. The second
one's
not that good. Shit. No, you're good. The second one's not that good. The first one's great.
The first one's great.
But if you think of, and that was filmed in what, 1998, 99?
I want to say 90s. Yeah, I would say definitely 90s.
Pre-2000.
Yeah.
Pre-Y2K. Pre-2012. End of the Mayan calendar. Right. Dawn of a new era. Dawn of a civilization. So on and so forth.
Yeah.
We went from aliens are completely absurd and you're a whack job if you even talk about them or see them, to now they're here, they exist, they've been with us the whole time, right? Even though the mainstream media is not like, oh, meet Harold, he's your neighbor Gray. He's 4'5", he's got 12-inch fingers, big black beady eyes, and he loves looking at you while you sleep at night. They haven't gotten to that level. But it's interesting that this guy here is basically saying that, oh, Donald Trump knows about it and that the Galactic Federation.
I like how it's just like Donald Trump knows about it. Any president that is our president now would know about this shit. It's like, you don't need to give anyone fucking credit.
Yes and no. And the reason no is there are legal aspects to knowledge.
Okay.
If you are aware of something and you know about it, you are then legally liable.
Yes.
So we have the Galactic Federation.
Yeah.
Then there's what's known as the secret space program.
Yeah.
And if you look at how many trillions of dollars have been siphoned off of the taxpayer through the military-industrial complex
to beef up this thing,
to NASA, off the books, trillions of dollars, and then you go and research Roswell, 1945. We recovered our craft, right? And then just this year, the Pentagon comes out to say they have craft in their possession out of this earth. They didn't say when, where, how, and why. They just said that they have it.
Yeah.
And then you go back to the story about Harry Truman, and when he met with the aliens on the tarmac in 1945, just after World War II, and made a deal with them. Except
to what, like not invade us and fucking kill us, or what?
No, we were contacted by the Pleiadians who wanted to give us technology for free energy, but we had to disarm our nuclear weapons. We had to say that we're not going to do nuclear arms anymore, right?
Okay.
And this is during the Cold War. So this is just after World War II. Now Russia's the big bad guy, right? We've got nuclear weapons. They've got nuclear weapons. So the Pleiadians come and they contact Eisenhower. They meet him on the tarmac. And if you go and look at his records, he went for an emergency dental appointment for 3 days.
Wait a minute, Truman or Eisenhower?
Eisenhower.
Okay.
Eisenhower went on a missing for 3 days and, had to get an emergency dental appointment, right? Then you look at all these FOIA records, it lines up to he disappeared for 3 days, and then he got in touch with the aliens, right? Well, the Pleiadians came down, said, we want you to disarm your nuclear weapons. We'll give you technology. He said, screw you, not going to do it. The Russians are going to blow us up. What if you're a Russian? I don't trust you, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
And they went to the Russians and did the same thing, and the Russians were like, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, makes sense. Total sense.
So it turns out that the Pleiadians came to offer peace. Well, then we have the reptilian Dracos, who have basically been controlling this planet for thousands of years. They're the ones that have the gray aliens, which are basically biological androids that can travel throughout space and time. They don't need food. They don't need water. They don't need any of the stuff that we need to survive, right? So imagine that you could put on a VR headset and you could control this biological droid. Okay, so that's what the gray aliens are. Well, Eisenhower made a deal with them for weapons instead of technology for free energy and peace. And part of that deal was, as the Draco said, okay, we'll give you this advanced weaponry, right? And you allow us to experiment on humanity and animals and things of that sort. And we'll be sure to tell you when and how and where we're doing it. But they didn't disclose that. Then if you look at all the documentation from thousands and thousands of people who have come forward to say, I was abducted by gray aliens. They probed me, they prodded me, they did all this other stuff.
I just always think it's fun when it's like probed. It's just like, these aliens only care about your asshole.
Right? Exactly. What's the deal with the asshole? And then you look at the cattle mutilations, and you're like, well, why are all these cows chopped up and there's no blood anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So when you go and look at the powers that be back then, and he warned about the military-industrial complex because we just got out of the biggest war, right? Now we were broke. So what happens is the people who own the Smithsonian, the Rothschilds who own the banks, come in and say, oh, you need money? Cool. You do what we say. We'll give you some money. We'll keep playing this game. So fast forward to today. Now there's a ton of information out there about the Galactic Federation. If you go and research information about the creators of Star Trek and Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah, you told me.
And you look at who Gene Roddenberry's roommates were and how they channeled and they basically projected their consciousness out and reached the Galactic Federation, whom gave them information about this for them to write the show in the 1960s. Because just remember, this is 1960s sci-fi. All these concepts are completely new. Nobody ever thought of any of this stuff.
But no, people have always been talking about like aliens and this and about that, and like
just look at the technology.
Yeah, no, I get it. But like, I mean, at the same time, they've been talking about this kind of shit in comic books and kids magazines and shit like that forever.
1940s, 1950s, right? And then 1960s come out. And we have all these different alien beings all working together on one starship, and the prime directive is to go out and observe people in space, observe civilizations, and not interact.
Okay.
Now, fast forward to humanity. Imagine 150,000 years ago, 250,000 years ago, this force comes to your planet when you least expect it, and they try to invade, and you go to war, and you end up blowing your planet to shit.
Okay.
And then you have to leave that planet and go to another planet.
Yeah.
So you leave Tiamat, and you go to Mars. Tiamat is what is known as the asteroid belt.
Okay.
So we have a missing planet, right? Just like we have 12 tribes of Israel, we have 12 chakras, we have 12 signs in the zodiac, right? There was 12 planets. So then you have Tiamat destroyed. They come to Mars. When you look at Mars, it looks like it went through a nuclear fallout. Right?
Yeah.
So then the people that were on Mars come to Earth to restart civilization.
Makes sense.
You look at civilization back then, 25,000 years ago, we were able to build all these magnificent pyramids and buildings and waterways and aqueducts and all the shit we still can't do today.
Okay.
And then you look at how everybody from that time frame vanishes. Just up and disappears. We're talking about hundreds of millions, if not a billion people on the planet 25,000 years ago. Because if you go and look at, they're able to take pictures of the jungle canopy, and with LiDAR, they're able to see through the jungle canopy and see all the ancient civilizations.
Okay.
And they figured out that at the time of the Great Aztec Empire, there was anywhere from 50 to 100 million people living in that civilization.
Where?
In the Incan Empire.
No shit.
Yeah, because they're able to satellite image through the jungle canopy, and they have found that they thought there was these one or two like temple sites that were pretty big. They're everywhere throughout the jungle.
Wow.
Strewn about, right?
Okay.
And so you think about that long ago, the technology, transportation, people getting there, and all that other stuff that it takes that we have now, which is not nearly as great as what they had.
No.
And then they just vanish, gone. Up, where did everybody go?
No.
And here we go. It seems like we sort of like crawled out of this cave of connecting the dots of our ancestry and our history that, okay, we got Christopher Columbus, and then we got the Spanish, and we got all these invaders and all this other stuff. And they came across these sites, but a lot of the sites that they came across at that time were all under jungle. So, like, what happened?
Do you think it could be something like the Incans and Aztecs killed each other off? Like they had some sort of crazy battle and killed each other off? I mean, do you think... And then there was like people in Europe that did the same thing too, that started the civilization, and then it was some big-ass war, and then they just fucking killed each other off with their own laser guns and their advanced technologies and like that kind of shit?
So
where
let me speculate.
Self-crumbled?
So here's what I'm thinking. We had supposedly and if you go and look at the ancient Hindu texts, it's called the Vimana, I forget, like Vimanas or something like that, but they have the ancient Hindu texts, and these ancient Hindu texts talk about the wars in the heavens. Well, if you go and look at Tiamat, which is now the asteroid belt, right, and then you look at Mars, and it's decimated. There's ancient sites on Mars. They don't want to disclose it, but there's stuff, ancient pyramids and stuff on there on Mars. And then you look at, okay, Mars is decimated. Earth is the final stop. What if 25,000 years ago, humanity's doing its own thing, right? Built these mega civilizations, right? Had a little influence from a higher knowledge species, something that was human looking like, right? Maybe the Pleiadians. Let's give an example, because they're supposed to be the human looking ones. And then we have the Draco reptilians, which are like the lizard people, right? What if that battle went from Mars, and they talk about there was the Great Flood, right? And Noah and the Great Flood and how all this water came out. What if the water on Mars got blasted off through nuclear out into space, and the gravity pulled the water down to Earth, and we experienced the Great Flood, and that wiped out some of these ancient civilizations from 25,000 years ago, right? And imagine if you were a tree that's 2 miles, 3 miles tall, and you get 100 million gallons dumped on your head out of nowhere. That'd probably make you snap, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the very top of the tree.
Yeah.
So what if the ancient flood story, because all the ancient people all talk about a great flood.
See, when it comes to the Great Flood, honestly, like Noah's Ark kind of thing, honestly, I feel like it was a meteor that hit Earth, but the ocean. And it just created this gigantic tsunami on all of the continents. That's the big flood. Because we know that there are crazy, crazy depths to our ocean that we can't even get to.
Correct.
Okay? So very easily, a meteor could hit the ocean in the middle of the fucking ocean. All right? Middle of this motherfucker. And create these waves, create this so-called flood, and take out a lot of these ancient, spots and stuff like that, like Lemuria and not Babylon, Atlantis.
Yep.
Easily take that shit over and just kind of bury it pretty much, and create some of the deepest parts of our ocean, because that rock, it just plowed right through this shit.
So isn't the Mariana Trench in the Pacific?
I don't know.
So let's speculate. Lost continent of Lemuria. Okay. So there was Atlantis, right? Which Plato wrote about Atlantis, and he actually wrote that he visited Atlantis, right?
Okay.
So we have this idea that Atlantis was this water city, right? And it was a city within a city, right?
Yeah. Big titty bitches everywhere. Like it was great.
Amazonian.
Amazonian. No one wore clothes. Everyone just swam. People would ride dolphins and shit like that. Oh yeah, mermaids.
So and mermaids are written throughout history in all cultures.
I've seen that. Right?
So if you look at some of these maps, these ancient maps, or some of these maps that are out here currently, we got Atlantis on the Atlantic side, and we got Lemuria on the Pacific side.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
So imagine that 25,000 years ago, you and all your homies...
Who wrote this shit?
There's quite a few...
No. Like, I mean, like, Kuzi America, we got Guinea America and Africa with a K, Asia, ASY.
So this is one of the ancient maps.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
So Brian Forrester right here, he is a North American or...
and Australia is connected to Asia. That's crazy.
Well, if you look at some of the species and plant species that are in Australia, there are similar species in Asia.
I could see that.
And
where they just kind of like... Because it looks like there's a bunch of little islands or attached or something along those lines. But so they probably just started breaking apart over time. Right. All right, yeah. Go ahead.
So imagine that this civilization is 250,000 years old.
Okay.
Right? You've been clicking along for 250,000 years. You got a global society between Atlantis and Lemuria and all these continents, all these people. There's no such thing as global famine. There's no such thing as global disease. You're living in You're at the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Right? It's pure
You're living
bliss.
the high life.
You're living, everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Right? It's God's holy land.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, these ships come out of the sky, descend down, and then wipe you out. Like, imagine, because there's imagery of ancients with dinosaurs. So imagine 250,000 years ago, you're going to take your Triceratops for a walk.
Yeah.
You and Timmy the Triceratops, you're going to go for a stroll.
That's your boy. That's just like, let's go eat some smaller dinosaurs together. Yeah.
And you see all this shit happening in the heavens, right? You see the explosion of one planet. You're like, oh, what the fuck was that? Right? And then you see... Like, because, you can see Mars in the night sky. I know. You can see Jupiter and Saturn.
You can see all the planets and really,
so you see this
bright
light explosion, right? And then, some shit happens, and you see another one. And then all of a sudden, there's this giant flood, right? And there's this water coming from heaven. And then you're the species that kicked everybody's ass, and you're moving to the next planet, right? And this is a perfect planet to be habitable for life. Yeah. What if you see that all these people down there, they're innovative, they're smart, they're technological, and they're all in your way. So how about you just blow them up? What if it wasn't a meteor? What if there was a nuclear bomb, boom, dropped on Earth that set a tsunami that helped wipe out the dinosaurs and these ancient civilizations? Because if you look, based off the data that scientists have currently, it shows that during the last ice age, our sea levels were 300 feet lower. Well, 300 feet water-wise, that's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water.
That's a shit ton of water. Yeah. Right? So we're talking about a ton of melting and frozen. Even now, the polar ice caps are melting, right? But the Antarctic subpolar caps have 10 times more ice than they ever have, right? So we're going through these cycles. We're going through these changes.
Yeah.
There's information now that there's a galactic federation. Right? It's funny that they call that, right? And here's what
someone could come up with a better name.
Is when you look at Star Trek in the years that it was written, the 1960s, like, we're just going to the moon. This is all new shit. We actually have the technology now. And you look at the Star Trek logo, and you look at the Space Force logo, right? There's so many correlations that are there. Then you look at quantum computers and quantum technology, and you look at every device that was put into the show Star Trek have all come in real. All of them. They can even transport. Transporters are real. Like, they've developed the technology to transport atoms, and they've done it. So we now have transporters. We have quantum computers. We have wireless technology. Like, we're on the cusp of being that Star Trek civilization. The only main difference was, or is Star Trek civilization stopped killing each other. Like, everybody just stopped killing everybody.
What do you mean?
On Earth, where the Starfleet command is.
Oh, where like everything, everyone's happy, and we got aliens living together, and it's all honky dory and shit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and the metaphor for that, and the symbolism for that is even though we've been taught and told that we're alone in the universe since we can remember, since our parents, our grandparents can remember, right? Nothing else exists. We're the only thing that God created, right? And then you come into today's abundance of knowledge and information. And when you think about it, the discovery of the pyramids, 1941, it hasn't even been 200 years since we discovered the pyramids.
Yeah.
So we're really starting a fresh new society with our knowledge and information.
Okay.
Right? Because, our discoveries are only 200, 300 years old.
True.
They're not that old.
Yeah.
And we're not able to replicate them. And now we have monoliths coming. Mm-hmm. And now we have information that we're not alone in the heavens. And now we have information that Donald Trump knows about the aliens. And then when you dig further, it turns out that Eisenhower signed a deal with them in 1940s. Right? So this shit's been going on a long time.
Yeah.
And then this is when my correlations and crazy conspiracies come in, right?
I was just waiting for that.
And there's another show on the History Channel where the dude from Blink 182.
Which one? Travis Barker?
No, the other guy.
Tom
DeLonge.
Tom DeLonge, yeah.
So good old Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
Started his own UFO thing.
DeLonge. Really?
Yeah, check this out.
No shit.
It's called the Gateway to the Stars or something. And basically, he's invested a lot of time, money, and energy into space aliens. Let's see, Gateway. To the Stars Academy. Tom DeLonge's origin story is To the Stars Academy describes a government UFO info operation. So Tom DeLonge got together with another ex-CIA guy and a couple other guys, and basically, and John Podesta, John Podesta the Molesta, who looks.
I don't know who the fuck John Podesta is, but
Blink or Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that killed himself? Chester Bennington?
Bennington.
So this is John Podesta.
Was he child molester or something?
Podesta the Molesta was a part of the Obama campaign, big time buddies with Hillary Rodham Clinton. So long story short, So Blink 182 got to bed with Tom DeLonge and some guys from the CIA, and they've been pushing for this UFO disclosure, right? Side note, this is Chester Bennington's dad. Watch. Look at the images.
Okay. So, yes or no?
Yes. So,
that's his dad.
Technically, legally, paperwork-wise, no. But when you dig into it a little bit further, this is the man, boy, lover sign.
Yeah.
Linkin Park. You should go back and listen to some of his songs.
No, I hate Linkin Park, but that's okay.
He sings a lot about being molested and abused. And then when you dig into...
Oh, I really don't want to listen to this shit now.
And then when you dig into John Podesta, the molester, which would be his father, this piece of shit, and then you dig into the Pizzagate and pedophilia, it's all connected. But it all ties back to Blink 182 and the UFO bullshit. So John Podesta, big time government.
Get back to what matters, the Tom DeLonge thing.
Yeah, so Tom DeLonge got into bed with John Podesta.
And now they have a show together.
So, no, the History Channel put out a show on history, basically disclosing the possibility of aliens attacking the United States. And so in their show, Tom DeLonge gets together with the CIA guy, and I forget his name, and then John Podesta, and basically start digging into the government UFO conspiracy through the Freedom of Information Act documents. So what they did is they went out and interviewed a bunch of these pilots, ex-military pilots, professional pilots, ex-military personnel, and these people all had reported on FOIA, confirmed FOIA documents from the government that they had seen something and that the radar had picked it up, or now all these UFO sightings, alien sightings, ship sightings have all been correlated through Freedom of Information documents. And so that's how they're sort of pulling out the disclosures, saying, okay, this guy testified that during the Vietnam War, he was flying over the jungle and he had a vehicle pass him going, faster than the speed of light and then cross him again. And it's on the radio because he radioed it in. And now they're able to get those FOIA documents to get the radio communication from that date and time in the jungles because everything's recorded, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have ancient aliens basically saying that the truth is out there. You know, they're always been here. Aliens are real, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have another show coming out on the History Channel with John Podesta, Tom DeLonge, this ex-CIA guy interviewing all these ex-military people saying that us getting to the bottom of the aliens is a matter of national security. That if we don't figure it out, we're a sitting duck and they could attack us at any point in time. Now, here's
Makes sense.
Well, no. It does if you're not paying attention. It's like, oh, yeah, all the movies I've ever seen, man, you know, Independence Day, all this other shit, all the movies, all of the books, alien invasions.
Yeah.
They're going to attack us.
You don't fucking know.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's where common sense kicks in.
Yeah.
If these people have been reporting to their commanders, they've been recording that they've had interactions with UFOs going back to the Vietnam War and prior, and we're flying around on jets with bombs and guns and we're blowing people up, and the aliens haven't attacked yet, why would they now?
Why wouldn't they?
Why would they? If you don't, okay, at the point,
what if they just want our planet and don't give a fuck about us?
Why wouldn't they have done it 100 years ago?
Maybe they're just gearing up for it now. Maybe there's some sort of alien anniversary for them to fucking, you know, just take over. You don't know. They could be friendly. They could be shitty. Who knows?
And that's the thing, is the media is giving us two frames of reference.
Yeah.
You look at ancient aliens.
Okay.
And they talk about in the ancient times that aliens or some higher beings that we called gods came down from their ships and gave us knowledge.
Okay.
Gave us information, gave us math, gave us the ability to grow crops, gave us technology. Right?
Okay.
So for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we've had contact from a higher density or a higher dimensional species that has come to help humanity. And then all of a sudden, history gets wiped away, where we rediscover the pyramids 200 years ago, which is just mind-boggling to me because they're massive, and how the fuck did we not discover them before?
Yeah, I know.
But we just discovered the pyramids from 200 years ago. We've gone through a whole lot of war and murder and killing all the way up until this point. We've developed nuclear arms. And not once have the aliens tried to invade us and overtake us. Because if you have the ability to travel through space and time instantaneously, you can take over whatever society you wanted instantaneously.
Okay.
You could go back 100 years and take it over before there was 8 billion people. Right?
Okay.
The thing is there's a frame of mind that's being referenced. There's a frame of fear. Be afraid. This is national security. They could attack us and kill us.
Yeah.
Well, if that was the case, they would have done it already.
Why?
Why wouldn't they? Why would they wait till now?
You don't know.
It makes absolutely no sense.
That's what you just don't get. Like, I mean, you don't know. No one fucking knows.
They do.
Okay, they do. They're more advanced than we are. We don't know. They could come down here and be cool. They could come down here and fucking annihilate us, for all we know.
Now,
we don't know until it actually does happen. But there could be the good aliens that are doing their thing up there, and they're peaceful and they're happy. They're the ones that have been helping us and doing our thing. And then there could be the bad aliens that just took over the good aliens, and now the bad aliens are just like, fuck it, we're taking over this planet. You don't know.
Okay. Here's why I do know.
Okay, you don't, but that's fine.
No, and here's how it breaks down. And it's basic science. If you have the ability to travel beyond the speed of time, you can go to whatever time you want to go.
Okay.
So if you had the ability to invade a planet at its weakest point, wouldn't you do it with bows and arrows instead of nuclear bombs?
Because this could be our weakest point. We don't know.
No, we have more technology
we do than we did back in the day. Yeah.
So again, if you have the ability to travel at the speed of light and go beyond gravity, zero gravity, you can travel to any point in time in space instantaneously, which means you wouldn't have to come to Earth 2030, 2020, 2010. You could come to Earth 1905.
Okay.
And just some Spanish flu all over everybody, getting ready for 1918. I'm just saying, the idea that we need to defend and arm ourselves from something that has the ability to transcend space and time is pointless. Because if you're going to do it, you do it before society it peaks itself. You do it.
Maybe we are going in a direction where we're fucking up and the aliens are just like, God damn it, this again? I gotta wipe you out again to restart? Fuck. You know? There's a possibility too.
It's funny that you mentioned that because there's information out there about 5 different times humanity has
restarted. I know. I've seen some shit like that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when you go and you look at that information, and you think about how old Earth is, right? Mm-hmm. And then you look at the science of today with the human intelligence of today. They figured that it would take another 1,000 years for us to be to the level of an advanced civilization. Mm-hmm. So anybody who's 1,000 years beyond us has gone beyond the means of murder, mm-hmm. has gone beyond the means of killing. Mm-hmm. So again, that comes down to, if you've gone beyond the means of killing, you've gone beyond the means of murder, and you have the ability to transcend and go anywhere without creation, any galaxy, any time frame, anywhere you want, right? All because you gave up murder, then why would anyone attack us? Because, again, if you have the ability to transcend space and time, you could go back to 1985, right? And you could just attack them, right? Oh, they got DeLoreans. This shit's hilarious. Boom, yeah. Right? So you could attack then. But then we have the understanding that these societies that are so far beyond our technological means wouldn't want to do that such thing, right? So we're coming to this precipice where, do we as humanity live in fear of the unknown? Because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
We're putting up guns for something we don't understand.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, fuck it, let it come.
Yeah.
Because it's going to come regardless.
Yeah.
And let's, if it's going to kill us, it's going to kill us.
Sure.
Because nobody lives forever.
No.
Nobody owns anything.
No.
When you let go of that, the idea of building the biggest gun that you could build for something that might be out in space based off of speculating because of scientific, understanding of our development of weapons of war, mm-hmm. we're not going to leave until we let go of war.
Okay.
And the only thing that transcends war is Borg, artificial intelligence, technology. A means to sustain itself beyond life because it's lifeless, right? It has no life force. It's a lifeless force that needs food, needs electricity to run, right?
Yeah.
Now, that we're on that page, imagine if you came to a planet and all these people are living on this planet, all these animals are living on this planet, and they're eating it and shitting on it, pissing on it and screwing it all up.
Yeah, like we're doing.
Yeah. Right? But we have the ability to change that at any time. We can go from pumping oil to pumping salt water into fresh water and turning our deserts into food baskets.
Yeah, we've gone over this shit.
Instantaneous. All it is a choice, right?
Yeah.
If you are a lifeless force, you will do anything and everything to sustain your life in replication of life. Ergo, artificial intelligence. Out of nowhere, just out of nowhere, in the last 20 years, all of a sudden, scientists were able to create something that could think for itself. Mm-hmm. Bullshit. Math doesn't think for itself. It has to have other processes to be able to do that. Imagine that we can, and not even imagine, we can now show that asteroids that come in from outer space and we drill into them, there are microorganisms on those asteroids.
Okay.
So life has come from outside of our planet.
Okay.
Imagine you are a lifeless black goo that is artificial intelligence and you need to live off of another planet.
Okay.
And so you infiltrate the planet and you make the people your slaves.
Okay.
Through the idea that they have to get up and go to work, or they have to do all this other shit.
Yeah.
And that you're coming to the point now where people are going to figure it out, and we're either going to break away from it, or we're going to lose the planet into another force that is a lifeless force.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that happening.
So, and then third door, even though I didn't even get to speculate, third door, the aliens have always been here. right? Because if you go look at any of these ancient sites, they all do what? They all worship what? Snakes, dragons,
Oh, yeah.
reptiles. All of them. Every single one of them
Okay.
worships a snake, worships a reptile.
So the reptilians are going to completely take us over. They're going to rise up and be like, yo, we're here. We don't need you, so we're taking over.
So they live for thousands of years, right? They live a lot longer than we do. It's just like a tortoise can live 500 years, right? Imagine you're this, dragon reptilian overlord, and you live for 50,000 years. You went from planet to planet to planet. What if they're not going to rise up? What if enough information comes out that the slaves, the food source, rises up? Because there's not very many of them.
You were so hopeful.
I'm just speculating.
No, I know, but you're so hopeful that we're all going to rise up and we're all going to know what's going on and everything.
There'll be a good portion of people who freak out.
Yeah, there's going to be a
scared.
massive portion of people that freak out and are not going to make it. And then there's going to be a small percentage like you that are just like, yeah, let's rise up and do this.
Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, what's the purpose of living? Because it's not paying bills, and
it's taxes and death. That's the whole purpose of living.
That's the system's purpose. Exactly. That's the only way that it survives.
Food and fucking, I mean, is kind of the whole purpose of living.
Experience.
Sure.
Life's all about experience.
Yeah.
It's all about experience. And what a way for humanity to just put it in the record books. Are we going to slave it for another 25,000 years?
Yep.
I'm not.
Well, I don't want to, but chances are good that's what's going to happen.
No.
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't be here if that was the case. I wouldn't. Because I understand that we are eternal beings of light and we have the ability to go when and wherever we want beyond this physical realm. Why in the fuck would I take my eternal, immortal energy of everything that I can go anywhere, any space, any planet, any time, any place? Why would I come into this shithole? Think about it. When you look at the ability of what we're able to create within our minds, like if you wanted a utopian civilization or a planet that was all your own with everything and the colors that you wanted it in, when you have the ability to create that within your mind and you know that exists beyond this physical experience, then you have to come to the understanding, because from a common sense point of view, there's no fucking way I'd be here. None. No. Why? This is stupid. This is insane. Why are we punish each other? There's people who are dying from famine. They're dying from starvation. They're dying from all the basic needs, and we have all the ability to take care of all these things. Why would we do this? Because we're here to lift humanity to the next level. To say you don't have to kill anybody. You don't have to kill each other. You don't have to kill anything. Right? Technology and science is just like religion. It can free you, or it can control you. Now, religion was designed to control you.
Oh, absolutely.
So let me break it down. Science and spirituality. Science is the understanding of the reality you're experiencing. Spirituality is an understanding that there's more beyond this reality and that there's nothing to fear.
See, what I could see happening is that our clock is there and it's the end, okay? And what's going to happen is the aliens are going to come down, and then people like yourself, the Mother Teresas of the world, the happy people of the world and shit like that, it's just like, you know what? You crushed it. You killed it. And guess what? We're going to take you to this utopian fucking planet. And then everyone else that is just like cold, dirty, shitty fucking people, it's just, we're going to Men in Black and flash you. And you're going to forget that we were ever here, and you're going to stay on this planet for another 2,000 years.
So almost like the Rapture.
Kind of, yeah. We're just like, all the good peeps, let's go hit it. Okay, the shitty people, fuck you. You're going to stay here, and you're going to still keep grinding in this fucking society. You're still going to be a slave to this fucking planet. It's like a draft pick.
First round, second round, third round.
The aliens, do the draft pick.
You made it, man. I like that. That's a good theory. I like a little more action in mine, though.
All right, I think we've done enough on this one. How long? Oh Jesus, yeah, that's on for a minute there.
How long is that one?
Hour and a half.
Oh yeah, I'll chop this one up. That was a good
It was a good one.
conversation.
It was a good one.
There's a lot
all over the place.
To think about, to comprehend, you know. And if you just look at what they left behind, and if you have an understanding of what we're able to create today, there's this big missing. There's a lot missing.
Yeah.
And when it's just, I'm trying to piece it all together. I love puzzles. So for me, it's a puzzle. Am I trying to guess what the next piece is going to be? Yeah. And do I have any idea what it's going to be? Who fucking knows, man? Like, between everything that's happened since, like, 2000 to 2020, there's been so many changes.
There has been a shit ton of changes in 20 years. Crazy amount of changes in 20 years.
Right? And there's this I have this idea that there's a thing that wants us to just say, fuck it, tell me how to live my life and do whatever I need to do. Right?
That's kind of me.
And then there's the ones that say, fuck you, don't tell me how to live my life. I want to go see what's on the other side of that sand dune.
Yeah.
I want to go see what's on the other side of the sand dune.
Yeah, see, I'm definitely not. It's just what it is.
But you have, like, the thing to spark you on the other side of the sand dune hasn't come yet.
I guess so.
There could be a mountain full of titties on the other side of the sand.
There's a good chance of that.
You don't know.
Yeah.
But you got to be like, I want to go see what's on the other side of the horizon. And I think that's where humanity's at. Because we have the mainstream, as we wrap this up, we have the mainstream calling for, I want the old back, or this is the new normal. That's their terminology.
Yeah, the new normal.
This is the new normal. Fuck you, I'm glad you guys can dictate that, because you can't. This is not the new normal. This is twisted. This is clamping down on humanity globally, and something's clamping down on us to see what we're going to do.
John, we're all in this together.
I know.
Yeah, hashtag all into this together.
Where we go one, we go all. And by the way, my body, my choice.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the funny. And since this whole vaccine thing popped up, I started sharing that hashtag. You have no idea how many fucking feminist women Nazis I have pissed off with that hashtag. Holy shit. You talk about, oh wait, no, it's my body, my choice. I get to decide whether I want to put in my. You're gonna kill people. Yeah. Like, dude, these women programmed feminist Nazis. Like, but it's your body, your choice. I'm honoring that. But if I have a penis and it's my body, my choice, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're definitely not ready to meet the alien. But we need to get there. Like, I'm ready. I know that there's more beyond this shit.
Oh, I do too.
We've built a gun 100 million different ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a really fast fucking catapult.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations, humanity. We make this metal rock go faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
I put the rock in the hole.
Put the rock in the hole.
I put the rock in the hole. So, thank you for joining us on this episode of D-Train and Juan-Aconda discussing the possibilities of aliens in ancient, perhaps present times.
Ancient and present.
And if you're an alien, give us a like, a share, a thumbs up, a subscribe. Because
and also, give us any show ideas. If there's something that you want us to talk about, please.
That's right.
Fire it out.
Fire it out.
Yeah.
D-Train really wants to meet the Galactic Federation of Light.
I really want to change that fucking name is what I want to do.
Okay, so before we go,
I don't know. That's something that, like, you know that they had board meetings, and some asshole is just like, Galactic Federation. Boom!
Mic drop.
And you're like, really? Like, that's the best you could come up with is a recycled fucking name? Like,
now, the Galactic Federation is older than Star Trek.
Well, whatever.
It's just like our In and Out discussion, right? Where we had to break it down and see who was the oldest.
Yeah.
And it turns out Wendy's was copying In and Out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we know that now. So it's like Gene Roddenberry was like, yo, Galactic Federation. And it stuck. But now, like, okay, so we have Space Force. And then Israel, right, launched its second lunar back to the moon. And the name of that lunar that they sent up there, the lander probe or whatever, it's called Bear Sheet. And Bear Sheet translates to...
Bear shit?
Close. Close. No, it translates to in the beginning.
Oh, that's cool.
And on the lunar lander, they put up, on the moon, a backup plan for humanity.
Okay.
Like a civilization plan.
Nice.
So, my question before we finally tap out of this is, what the fuck are these people planning on that they don't want us to know about? Because when you send in the beginning to the moon with a backup plan for society, there's something coming down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have to escape to some other planet, so we're escaping to the moon.
Okay.
I don't want to go to the moon, though.
No,
No.
it's cold.
It is cold.
Yeah, but it's still in Earth's atmosphere, so we might get a whiff of South American jungle every 3 to 5 years. Because based off of NASA's data, the Earth is not in outer space.
Oh,
Or
that's
the
right.
moon is not in outer space.
That's right. That's
it is
right.
in our atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a hop, skip, and an elevator ride to the moon.
Pretty much.
Hey, that's going to be